Hi everyone, this is Mary Michon from Bensell Greenhouse in Toledo, Ohio. And today I'm going to show you how to apply plant skid in springtime when you have all different crazy weather going on and certain things are emerging, many things are dormant. And I just wanted to show everyone how to apply plant skid in an effective way so that when the deer come grazing, they can't get at your newly emerging plants as well as some of your more established. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go into this beautiful yard here and we're going to start spraying, but I'm going to kind of tell you a few things about plant skid as I'm applying it. So like I said, we usually come out in the springtime, and some of these homes I'm doing weekly because as new plants emerge, you don't have coverage. So we have to come in and we have to get all the little nubs of our hostas coming up, the little tulips coming up, and a lot of the new foliage, some of the trees and things like that, because the deer are very ravenous early in the spring as they've been trying to maneuver throughout all of the areas trying to find the right amounts of food. So as all of the things start emerging in your garden, they're going to be very active and looking for those things. So let's start spraying. So what I'm doing now is, of course, with our sprayer, we have a really wide base so I can pump and spray everything. And I'm making sure that I'm getting all of this covered. Not to worry about your flowers, because when we do spray flowers, even like these white daffodils, it will fade after a few minutes, about 10 minutes of dry time, and it does fade. There will be a little bit of residue, but it's not going to be so noticeable from a distance. You'll only notice it when you're coming up. So I'm doing all this foliar stuff. I can see that the homeowner is getting their yard mulched, so I like to do the mulch as well. And I also spray the bases of the trees so that as a deer walks by, they'll emit that fragrance from the tree and they'll stay away that way. So here I'm doing newly emerged hostas. So here you see, and every area in your yard will create a different type of climate. So you could have all different zones. You could have a very cold zone on the north side of your house where nothing is coming up yet, or on the south side of your house, which is where this is, you can see that everything is coming up. So I'm going to put my backpack sprayer down for a minute and show you that you also have our granular. The plant skid granular is really good for newly emerging hostas, all of your tulips, things like that where it's just coming out, where the deer's face is going to come right down here and nip off those. Plant skid has a beautiful granular product, and it's got a really nice shaker system on the top so that all you have to do is come, and when you shake it around your plant, the little granular. So tomorrow we have a chance of rain. Of course, in the spring we do off and on. And what will happen is as it rains, then this starts to dissipate and it releases that odor. So as the deer gets down closer to the ground, they'll start releasing that smell, and they'll smell that and they'll stand back. So sometimes it's very beneficial for you to do both a granular in the very beginning, early spring, as well as spraying your plants. Making sure that the weather is good. Like I said, we have a chance of rain tomorrow around 5 p.m. It's about 5 o'clock now, so we have a good 24-hour dry period. The wind isn't too strong, so it's not going to blow everywhere. And the temperature is right. So we want to make sure your temperature, you really should be above freezing. I like it to be more in the 40s for a few hours so that it does dry properly. You don't want it to flash dry and it cracks off. And so you want to make sure that all of the right conditions are set before you start applying to make sure that it's 100% effective. So we're going to start spraying again. Okay, so now we're over at another bed and we've got some newly emerging hydrangea leaves. Sometimes they stay away from these, but if they're really hungry, they will nip off the buds. So I'm making sure that I'm getting in here and spraying everywhere. Again, this is a good spot to put down the granular as everything is emerging. As you can see, they have come in and got some of the tulips early on, but this is usually a yard that's completely exfoliated. And we'll pan through and you can see all the beautiful hostas and tulips in this neighborhood that you don't see anywhere else. So it really works. It's a wonderful product. I'm not concerned. It's 100% organic. And like I said, if you apply it in the proper way, you're going to be very, very successful. So we're just going to keep spraying so you guys can see how we do an entire coverage of all these areas. So I'm making sure that I'm getting all the stems, and I'm making sure I'm getting all of the foliage that is exposed. If you have a large area, it might be a good idea for you to invest in a bigger backpack as opposed to maybe the spray bottles. The pumping action may tire you out after a while. But I'm doing all of the, I'm spraying a wide area, all the trees, I get all the bark, and I get all the foliage. I'm going to get all these newer hydrangeas that are emerging down in here. Like I said, sometimes the new buds are exactly what the deer wants to eat. I even spray plants that they are not necessarily interested in, but I like to spray the entire area to keep them from moving into different paths and having an area where they can come in and grab some of these tulips. Okay, so now we're over on the north side of the house. It's a little bit darker. Hostas are just starting to come up, but I want everyone to see how we're spraying. Now, like I said, I've been back here many times over the last month spraying this area. So we're making sure that I'm not only getting the hostas, but I'm going to get the mulch area around it, because the wood chips actually hold on to the scent. So it's not a bad idea to do an area around it. But what I wanted everyone to see is here's some new giant hostas just emerging. And what I'm doing is I'm actually holding my sprayer over the top so the plant skid drips down. But you can also see that it's very wet around there, so that mulch has been saturated. The biggest issue that you have is this is so effective, but now in the next, it's supposed to rain and get warm again. These guys are going to push open and be open and leafed out like these guys, and there's not going to be plant skid coverage on the jumbo leaves. So that means in another week, I'm going to come back and check to make sure that they don't come back and take all these hostas down where there isn't any plant skid. I'm going to make sure that I come in and spray the leaves. So in the springtime, it's really critical for you to keep checking your areas, checking all over your house, making sure that you're getting all the different zones basically, and that you're looking and making sure that all the coverage is getting sprayed upon as everything leaves out. After spring, when everything is leafed out, then you get to tone it back. You don't have to apply it as often, and it works 100%. So hopefully this gives you a good idea of application of plant skid in this early spring, and good luck keeping those deer, elk, rabbits at bay.